Hi, and welcome to the wrap-up session of week 2 of SeptembRSE. There, I think everyone can see that, hopefully. So, welcome to the wrap-up session. I can't believe we've managed to get all the way to the end of week 2. That's quite an achievement, I think, given the amount of material that we've been going through. So just suddenly checking to see if something came up. Nope, that's fine. Good, everything seems to be working. Cool, so as I said, halfway through the entire session now. That is quite an achievement. So 50% through, time to completion, approximately 2 weeks, 2 weeks down, 2 weeks to go. So, what sort of gives you a sense of the scale of the conference is we've uploaded pretty much all of the YouTube videos now to the Society's YouTube channel. And there's now more than 22 hours of content, which is up there. So, if my maths is any good, then that suggests by the end of the conference, we'll be approaching something like 40 hours or so, which is enough for a complete weekend of binge watching, if that is, what tickles your fancy. So, there's tons of material. There's been so much that's been going on through these 2 weeks of SeptembRSE. So we're using these wrap-up sessions to basically just highlight some of the things which, at least in my opinion, sort of stood out to me. Just my opinion, if I haven't highlighted your session this week, I apologize. I've tried to limit myself just to a few things. And indeed, rather than just pick things randomly, what I decided to do with this wrap-up session is to highlight one thing for every single day of this week. So Monday, what was my highlight of Monday? Then just my personal opinion. Well, I think people can probably guess what my highlight of Monday is. It is the Python showdown. So Python is ubiquitous in research, even when it's not the optimal option. When is it worth in testing time in a more specialized but harder to learn, maintain programming language? Or, as the picture in the middle says, let's all have a go at Python, because it's not the best. It's the second best language at everything. And I thought this was a fantastic discussion. It was really nice to hear all of everybody's opinions about Python, defending it, presenting other options. I think it was a very mature discussion. It went into lots of interesting areas. And I do encourage you to, if you've not heard it, do check it out on YouTube. It was a really nice event. As well as that, there was a nice side discussion that was going on in the SeptembRSE channel, in the RSE Slack. Loads of people posting things, lots of interesting information. And, I had a good argument with people, good discussion with people about various things. And yes, we all want const. If Python could have const, that would make our life a lot easier. And yeah, I think we all discovered that no language has pure private members. You can basically access private data in any language. It's how hard does the language make that for you, and how much does it convince you that it's not possible when it is. So that was Monday's highlight for me. There are other amazing things that went on Monday, but this was the one I picked out. So what about Tuesday? Well, Tuesday for me, the highlight was the Megalodon. I had to write it down in the corner so I can remember the name of it. It is the big shark, which is sort of hunting down the other whales there from the ancient past. This is basically open source research software defining and showcasing the good. Yo and Tally did an amazing job with this workshop. If you want to know why, I've got a picture of Megalodon for this particular event, then please do catch the actual YouTube video and you will see why. There's many mentions of mammoths and large sort of prehistoric creatures. What I really liked about this particular workshop, and it was a workshop, it was a fantastically run workshop, was it was also very much like a discussion as well. And I thought it followed very nicely on from what happened on Monday. So with this workshop, Yo and Talia grouped together a range of contributors who were all talking about community. And really, for me, it really felt about how do you build good open source, community projects? How do you bring people into them? And what was the good thing you can do? And what were things that turn the community off? It's sort of this wide ranging discussion. I think it was about 2 hours or something, 1.5 hours. And it's well worth the listen. If this is something, if you can't watch it, you want to put it on as a podcast in your car when you're driving, this would be fantastic actually for that. And you really learn about, what things work. So if you've ever thought about, I have this open source project, I've thrown it on GitHub, why is nobody contributing to it? This particular workshop really talked about why that was the case, and really focusing on how you build those communities, what things work, how do you get people interested, how do you get them invested? So that was a really, really interesting event, and said well worth your time to listen if you'd like to sort of listen to it. Okay, so that was Tuesday in terms of my highlight. What about Wednesday? Wednesday, I thought the blended session was amazing. Some fantastic talks in the morning, but the blended session then sort of capped that all off. So this was with Lunch Bites, which is a Sheffield sort of lunchtime sort of talk series. And we sort of did a Lunch Bite SeptembRSE sort of mashup. And this was the Python Virtual Environment Showdown. So again, it sort of complemented what we said on Monday. And this was basically showing off, talking about the different ways of managing virtual environments in Python. So virtual env with pip, poetry, and conda. And again, it was sort of highlighting the good and the bad of the three parts of this. And what I liked about it was a blended session. It's the only blended session we've been able to run in the whole of SeptembRSE. Delta kind of, I think, but paid to some of our blended plans. But it was also nice to see the range of discussion, the questions that were coming up, the way the speakers were answering those questions. And also it's nice to have that sort of that linkage across to a sort of a university sort of monthly lunchtime event. So if you're interested in blended events, you want to do something as part of SeptembRSE, there's probably just about enough time. If you're interested, do get in contact with us. But maybe it's something to think about if we ever do an online conference again in the future. But again, check it out, really nice video. And if you wanted to learn about virtual env, poetry, conda, how to use them, how to set them up, this particular talk did a great job of that. Thursday, so what was my pick of the day on Thursday? Well, Thursday, oh no, a day without SeptembRSE. This was the day where we basically had a day off just to recharge ourselves. And it even said there's nothing scheduled to run for the day, as you can see on the top left. So I'm going to mention for Thursday was really all of the other things that were going on for the week. So we started off on Monday, sort of in the conference center. That was when I dropped the week 2 set of Oracle Cryptic Code Treasure Hunt coins. And I think that people are watching the conference center or have some form of alerting system set up, because the moment I clicked publish on it, it was swarmed by people hunting for treasure coins. So I think it's excellent that so many people are interested. If someone could tell me how you knew when I clicked submit, I'd be very interested to know, because I'm trying to choose a random time every single Monday during the conference so that everyone has a fair chance. And yeah, it was swarmed, and I saw tons of people running up to Dot Dash, who's there, or Dash and Dot, I can't remember the way around, the robot there who's serving all the coffee, and he was this robot was basically trying to tell people exactly what they needed to do next. If you've not collected the week 2 coins yet, please do have a go. I think they're a lot of fun. I had lots of people commenting. Yes, I am evil, as some people have said. I am trying to sort of steer you down the wrong path. And try everything. Assume the win the clues and assume in the things you have to do that you are dealing with a very evil person, and you'll do well. The week 3 coins will be deposited on Monday, and the week 3 coins are a level up. And I look forward to seeing how everybody deals with those. And again, I am evil. That I'm just forewarning you. Elsewhere in the conference center, we have got a new booth. So there's the International RSE Day on October 14th. We have the booth that's now up. And if you go and check out the notice board on that booth, you'll see sign-up information, other information about International RSE Day. And what we probably will end up doing is opening up the GatherTown Conference Center on that day so that everybody in the sort of the International RSE community can all come together and celebrate. So it should be good fun. There was also another poster that went up, so 2 posters actually that went up. One was the Lua Tech poster, so P1005, if I remember correctly. So that poster is now up. Please do go and have a look at it. It looks very well put together. And we also had the poster for the UK Regional Research Software Community Special Interest Group, which is a workshop happening next week. And there's information about how you can set up regional groups with their poster, which is P1020, I think. It's on the right-hand side of the conference. So that poster is basically provides you with a map, and they're trying to get a sort of an idea of where people would identify themselves regionally. So you put your pin on the map, and then you say, which region do you think you're in? And that way we'll hopefully be able to self-sort people into regional groups as we start thinking about how we're going to sort of add that sort of missing thing between the local RSE group and the sort of the National RSE Society. And then the other thing I like this week, which I'm mentioning for Thursday, is Rich Pitts from Oracle actually wrote a really fantastic blog on the conference, taking my cat with me to the metaverse, a recap of the SeptembRSE conference week 1. Please do read that blog. I found it really interesting, and lots of things about it. And if anyone else is writing a blog or anyone else has anything they would like to share, please send it to me, and I'm very happy to highlight it and retweet it and everything else. Okay, so that was Thursday. What about Friday? Well, Friday this morning was the Coding Confessions, and obviously I had to grab some pictures of this before the Coding Confessions event. But again, that was an amazing event. So Colin and team did a great job of bringing together lots of people who've made errors, made problems that had consequences with their software. We all make errors. There are loads of bugs, I think, in everybody's code. And this was a nice opportunity for people to sort of show that, even the best of us, the most experienced, the ones who've been doing this for the longest, we all make lots of silly errors because, we're all human. What's really nice with the Coding Confessions workshop was it wasn't just showing off the errors, but it was also building a blog around that. So I really do encourage you to check out the Coding Confessions blog site. So I've put a little picture of that on the left, and that will enable you to sort of begin reading about things. And I feel very sorry for their scribe. Scribe was trying to quickly write things down because I think I'm going to be adding a lot of the things from the workshop to that blog post as well. And I'll remind that scribe that the session is being recorded. And so hopefully you can step through it on YouTube once it's up. It should be, I think, now because I uploaded it just before lunchtime. So those are the highlights of my week. Again, I'm sure people have different highlights as well. And if I've missed you off, I apologize. Otherwise, I'd be replaying the entire conference. But it's been a fantastic week of SeptembRSE. We're halfway through, and I'm really looking forward to weeks 3 and 4. Okay, a few FAQs. So again, people have been asking, how do you change your name on GatherTown? Just to remind you, you change your name by filling in the diversity form. So please, 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 people, fill in the diversity form, and that will enable us to know where you all come from. And we can produce statistics, which will show us basically how diverse the audience of this conference is. We've now sent out 325 tickets, which I think is amazing. People still keep buying tickets. It's incredible that we've got to this level, but do fill in the diversity form. The diversity form is the source of your name in GatherTown. You can't change it to GatherTown yourself. And by filling it in, you will let us build up maps of where everyone comes from and show us the diversity of the audience, which is really important for us to sort of track that we are reaching everybody in the community equally. Next question was, how can I add co-presenters to my session? So if you're a presenter and maybe you've got your name on your talk or your walkthrough, etc., but you want other people added as well, so they've got full credit, all you have to do is send us their email address. So send the email addresses of everybody who you would like to have co-credit for your session. And what we'll do is we'll then add that to our conference information system. It will then generate information and we'll email them the link to the diversity form. Once your co-presenters, your co-creditors have basically filled in the form, their name and institution will be added onto the conference information system, will then be visible for everybody. So that's all you need to do. Then can I arrange a meeting or networking session within GatherTown or sort of associated with SeptembRSE? Please do. So GatherTown is open all of the time. If you want to promote it, I suggest you do that in the SeptembRSE channel on the RSE Slack and basically sort of try and get people interested there. If you get enough people interested, then contact me and I'll try and highlight them at these kind of sessions here, saying next week or later this week, there'll be a meeting in the Garden Cafe talking about HPC as an example. Not that there is a meeting talking about HPC, but maybe there should be. And then the other question, can I still buy a ticket? Of course you can buy a ticket. So this is the beauty of an online conference. You don't have to turn up at the beginning because everything is on YouTube, so you can catch up. We are selling the tickets just until the end of the penultimate week, so just to the end of next week. We're not going to sell tickets in the last week because you're only buying 1 week's worth of stuff, which we don't think is very fair. So basically, you can buy a ticket anytime up to next Friday, and we'll process it and we'll go through. And as I said, loads of people have bought tickets. We've posted we've emailed 325 out so far. Okay, so now we're coming to the competitions. This is, I think, the point that most people are waiting for and coming to. So we have the Alsace Flights Win a Moose by mail. So let's have a look at the first person who's won it. So I'm going to spin the wheel. Cool. So Jay Jensen, I think it's Jens Jensen has basically won the first of the moose. I can never work out what a plural of moose is. If anyone suggests what a plural of moose is, please put that in the chat and I'll be able to work it out. Okay, let's go for the second of these moose. Spinning round, it's going to come to a stop very, very soon. And we have Rich Pitts. Rich, you have won a moose. Congratulations. So last week, if you saw me holding my iPhone, I had this wonderful sort of sound of like fireworks celebrating that the person has won. Unfortunately, the noise cancellation on Zoom is so good, it cancelled it out totally, which I think is wonderful for how well the noise cancellation is, but terrible for me trying to play sounds that show celebration. Okay, so let's do the third of the moose. Spinning round, this is your, the other chances on other weeks. So again, if you want a moose, do go to the Alsace Flight booth and sign up and you'll have your name on here. Let's see who we've got. Jay Dietrich, congratulations, you have won the third of the moose. So again, if you want a moose, some of them may possibly even come in a mug. I've been told it might be a moose in a mug that you might get if you're really lucky. then do go to the Answers Flight booth, sign up, and I believe there'll be more that'll be available next week. Okay, the Oracle Cryptic Code Treasure Hunt. So I know this has been causing a lot of excitement, interest, intrigue in all of the RSE groups across the country. And I saw lots of people running around. I've had lots of contact from people who are like saying, you are evil. I was doing it this way and it was actually that way. Yep, I am evil, as I said, and I will become more evil as you move through level 3 and level 4. So here we are at the level 2 point, halfway through the treasure hunt. As I said, because it's the first person or the first team to submit the 20th coin, haven't submitted all of them, it doesn't matter how quickly you go at this point. The winner will be basically the person who submits the 20th coin with all of the others submitted on week 4. So you really have a chance to catch up if you've not collected any coins so far. So again, if you've not entered yet, please enter, go and collect coins 1 to 10 and, enjoy this as well. Because I think it's a lot of fun, I've been told, even though I'm evil. So we've had a lot of movement in the leaderboard through this week. So as you can see, Hut 23, I think, have fallen down a little bit. No Remorse is climbing up, as is Peter Hill, but let's see who are in the top 3. So number three is last week's number 1. It's Matt Williams. So Matt has fallen from number 1 to number 3. So where are we on who's number 2? Number 2 is HMS Hartree climbing up there. And then number 1, the current leader of this particular treasure hunt. And I have to say, on Monday, I saw how organized they were and beginning to see why teams will have an advantage in this competition. It was Spinnaker. So congratulations to Spinnaker. You are winning the competition at the moment. And, hopefully see if you keep your lead going into next week. But, the rest of you definitely have a chance to catch up. And I think next week you will truly think that I am evil. You have been warned. Okay, so that's the end of my wrap up. Questions. So basically, if anyone has any questions, please put them into the Slido. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing screen now, put the Slido up, and I think the link to that is also going into the chat. This is where you see me looking at 2 screens at the same time. Okay, so I'm just going to give it just a little bit of time. There's been no questions at the moment, which shows that we're doing our job. We're communicating all of the information you need. But if there's any questions anyone wants to ask, just type them in and we will answer them. It's always good. I feel in talks and these things, no questions means either you've done an excellent job and everybody understands everything, or you've done a terrible job and nobody understands nothing. And what I do is I decide that I'm an optimist. So everyone has understood everything. That means it's done a fantastic job and we don't need to worry about answering anything. So unless anything is going to come up in the last few seconds, I'm going to move on and go on to the next session. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that's the end of the wrap-up session. At the end of the wrap-up, we're now going to move on to the poster lightning talk session. So with the poster lightning talk session, we're going to first move over to Kristen, who's going to take a tour of the discussion boards. So I'm going to stop sharing now and I'm going to hand this over to Kristen.
Afternoon, everybody. Hello. So now I'm going to share my screen and hopefully I will not go off and have an echo. So I am pleased today to present the wonderful world of the discussion boards. I wanted to do this kind of in Gather Town, but also not spend too much time simply because we want to remind you guys that the discussion boards are active. They're right under here, under the Alsace Flight and the RSE International Day booths. These boards are kind of put together in order for people to engage on topics. They can do so by just simply writing it down, or people can gather around them. Currently, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different topics. Plus, if you guys attended the Coding Confessions panel today, they've even got a board where you can write your coding confession down that they can utilize in their blog posts. So starting with poster number 1, or excuse me, discussion board number 1, if everything's going well in this world, we're going to talk a little bit about Team RSE. And if this decides it doesn't need to work, it's no big deal. And a lot of the, oops, did I go the right one? Yeah, probably something like that. I can never see anything. I'm blind and old. So Team RSE is really, the discussion around this seems to be going a lot more around project management and how to deal with people when you're in a hybrid working environment, what to do about tooling, and dealing with team changes. So this is something I've seen a lot within RSE communities. It is about how you deal with when a team gets bigger. Or how you deal when teams change. So when you guys go from being generalists to specialists, for example. So the Team RSE board is really talking pretty practical in my opinion about how things are being sought out. The boards that are happening over here, we've got imposter syndrome. I think where I'm coming on a summary for this is a lot of people are kind of concerned that they are not enough or not qualified enough. And also about the dark sides of things, like when you've got academic pressures such as publishing hanging over your head. But what I love the most, and now I just realized that, yes, I was on the imposter syndrome board and no longer on the Team RSE, is that the RSE community is a lot like a chimera. We're a lot of different body parts, we're a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And so long as we celebrate that, I think we're doing great as a community. The one that I'm standing in front of, the correct one now, is about does being an RSE dead end an academic career? And you know what? Most people are saying no, absolutely not, because the academic world needs RSEs just as much the other way around. And so I'm really, really pleased to see that there's a lot of positive talk about how you can be an RSE, you can be an academic, it's okay, because as the other board said, we're all a bunch of chimeras here. Moving on to good ways to capture and write documentation. This was less about the technical and actually more about how do you engage people in order to write the best kind of documentation, with a lot of discussion around really actually engaging with your end users and the people who are actually going to read it, or if anything else, getting a hold of a trusted criticism from trusted people. And that's the kind of thing that I think leads to greater communication, making sure that whatever you do, whatever project, whatever software, whatever it is you're writing, it can continue to live on. And then over here, this last one, we have the advice to your younger self. And what's interesting that I've seen with this board that I was really looking at this morning was to be a successful RSE seems to be that you don't force yourself or your skill sets or your thoughts. You don't try to push it into whatever project it is you're working on, that you need to work alongside that and to be open to new things. And also, I guess the other thing too is to be ready to be able to speak different languages in terms of being able to talk to the business users, being able to talk to the end users, but also being able to speak technically, which is a very difficult skill to learn. But in remaining open and remaining receptive to the many different aspects of a project, be it software or otherwise, you're really opening yourself up to great things. And then I think there's a bunch of people over here gathered around Coding Confessions having a conversation, so I'm not going to wander into that. And that is where you guys can put your coding confession in so that Colin and the team can capture that information and put it into a blog. Again, really, really fascinating panel this morning. It was great fun to be on the outside of that, organizing that with James Womack, who's my co-volunteer for this. And it's great to talk about mistakes. My little boy who's in school, they call it marvelous mistakes at his school. You've made a marvelous mistake. And being able to celebrate that, because I think you're right. Well, we all deal with issues of imposter syndrome, see the other boards, and being perfectionists. And then I believe the last one, which is over here, was what Christopher so kindly referred to as an upcoming thing. Yes, the newest poster is actually about the upcoming UK regional software community, and that is launching on Friday, September 24th. So that is my discussions update, with a really quick thanks again to James for being the best co-volunteer ever for the discussions and panel sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen. And I'll sort of end those thanks with basically also thanking really all of the committee for doing so much hard work to get week 2 going, but also all of the presenters and the contributors to week 2. So it has been a really fantastic week. Really, really enjoyed it. So now we're going to move on to the lightning talks. So we have 3 lightning talks today, and I'll remind poster presenters and sponsors, if you want your lightning talk to be shown, please do email it to me and I will basically play it as part of the lightning talk set. Also, if there's anybody who wants to promote something, if you would like to promote something that's related to the conference, please email me a short 1-minute video and I'll also play that as part of this lightning talk session. So we run one of these a week as part of the poster sessions. So I'm just going to share the screen now with and play the first of our lightning talks.
Late ordering my conference merch, but it gives me a chance to bring out the 2019 t-shirt. Hello everyone, and thank you to the conference team for the opportunity to talk to you about what we at Amazon Web Services are doing as part of this year's RSE conference. I was late ordering my conference merch, but it gives me a chance to bring out the 2019 t-shirt. I'm James Grant. Until the beginning of the year, I was Central RSE at the University of Bath, where I helped organise events like HPC Champions. My email's here on the slide, although I would like to highlight that the handle AWS Grant at Amazon.com is my personal email. Please don't ask for credits, but we do have programs for that. Firstly, I want to say how great it is to be speaking at an RSE conference after the last 18 months. And while we're not in person, it's great to see the community coming together. Personally, I'm delighted to be able to remain a part of the community, having made the switch to AWS at the beginning of the year. I wanted to start by recalling my talk at the 2019 conference, when I referenced the Colossus of Rhodes, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. This was how the then Director of IT referred to the role when I started in the central position at Bath. Standing as it did as the interface between central IT and the research community. The longer I've been a part of this community, the more I like this analogy for RSE. The importance and value of the role, what you do in so many domains and different contexts, is why organisations are so keen to invest in the RSE community. And this is why when AWS created a new solutions architect role, focusing on working with the RSE community, I was so delighted to apply and really pleased to move into the position at the beginning of the year. Personally, I saw this as a great opportunity to impact researchers and research software engineering. So if you have any questions, please do get in touch on Slack or by email. Right then, what are we doing as part of this year's conference? AWS are sponsors of the event, so you can go and visit our booth and explore some of the projects and content that we link to by clicking on the objects in the booth. In particular, I'd encourage you to go and visit the HPC Tech Shorts channel by visiting the AWS water cooler, where you'll get some of the content on the HTC work that's done at AWS. Peter Schmidt will be creating a series of specials for his Code for Thought podcast as part of the conference, and the UK education team will be appearing in one of these. On the 28th of September, we're running an all-day workshop at 6 sites around the country, each running in person. The content will explore analysing and visualising data from the Registry of Open Data, but the aim is that it will be an opportunity for you to think about research problems that you're working on, which might be able to benefit, and then speak to us about them. The sign-up link is in the SeptembRSE Slack channel, and if you'd like to know more, please get in touch. Hope it's going to be a great fun day, and in the evening, we'll all go out for a meal and have an opportunity to socialise. Finally, we'll be presenting a talk on the 29th of September. Martini is an intern who's been working in our team over the summer, and his project is titled Voice First Research. This was inspired by a talk that Christopher Woods gave in Bristol a few years ago. I love this project. It's a really cool thing, but more because it's only really possible because of the fantastic RSE work that the Biosim Space project represents, and the work that Christopher and his team, in particular Lester Hedges, have been working on. So thank you to the organisers and everyone attending. It's great to be back, and I hope you all have a super conference.
Apologize, just the sound basically is not coming up on some of these videos. I'll make sure that that sorts itself out.
Hello, I'm Steve Thompson, and I'm here today to talk about the psychic surgery libraries and give you an update on recent progress in them. Development of the psychic surgery libraries is funded by the Wellcome Trust and the EPSRC with a goal to create a set of open source libraries that can be used to underpin research and clinical translation for image-guided surgery. In the past 18 months, it's been challenging because we haven't been able to get directly into theatre and work directly with surgeons. However, we've been quite productive, and we'll go over some of the things we've done today. We've developed ongoing clinical applications for image-guided liver surgery, image-guided skull-base surgery. Most recently, we've been doing one for orthopedic surgery and shoulder reconstruction surgery. We've been able to use psychic surgery extensively for delivery of remote education and also to perform research into registration methods for neurosurgery. We've deliberately tried to avoid creating a single large library. In academia, it's important that sustainable software is small, so it can be owned and maintained by a single researcher. The strategy has been successful. We have around 40 libraries and we have engagement with researchers around the world. However, as a result, our code base is quite fragmented, so it's going to be very interesting working out how we maintain it in the future. We're now in the process of reflecting on what we've done, trying to measure our success and looking at what impact we've had. We'll address some of these things in our poster, along with possibilities for future work. The poster is intended to be a work in progress, which we're going to keep on adding to over the course of SeptembRSE, and to which you can contribute. So please follow the link to the poster and please get in touch. Thank you.
The sharing of knowledge used to be limited to where we were or how loud we could shout. And
Hello, I'm delighted to be here with you today, just to give you a quick overview of what Oracle for Research have planned at the conference. So the obligatory slides for this, and let me switch, share my screen, start the share. So I was lucky enough with Mike Riley to present a paper on resource descriptive frameworks within the Oracle database, looking at drug anomaly detection. That was back in September 2019, the last get together, I think. We were alongside Matt Williams, who was talking about cluster in the cloud. Matt is doing another talk about the cluster later this month. I strongly recommend you go and listen to what Matt has to say. Oracle for Research projects are using this software at the moment. It's fantastic. So really pleased to be alongside Matt again. Anyway, so from that, this February, Mike and I joined Oracle for Research, which is part of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure team, development team. I'm the research advocate, and Mike is the technical lead in Oracle for Research. Our objectives are very similar to what the society is trying to achieve. I'll talk a bit more about that in a second. Since we started in February, we have spun up lots of projects across Europe. These are just a few examples, and I'm delighted that one of them will be actually presenting here later in the month. We work in a whole range of projects, from working with Bristol University. We're very proud that we also are not just interested in the heavyweight computing of science, but hard science, if you like. But we also have lots of projects around the digital humanities. So if you're a researcher working in that space, then we also are very keen to talk to you about how we might be able to help. We have a grant program, and my primary objective of coming to the conference today was to explain and talk to people about how you can get a support grant from Oracle for Research. We don't just give you the access to the cloud, we also have, as you heard, Mike here as my technical lead. And the project, if you work with us, we do an extensive marketing and explanation of what you're doing. But the key thing is any of your research and any of your IP, we don't just work with researchers in universities, we also work with startups. All your IP remains yours. As I said, we're very keen on supporting what RSE is doing, and we are very much aligned with a lot of the things and initiatives you're trying to achieve, and we will be here to support the society as much as possible. So what are we going to do at the conference? Well, come and meet us. We have our stand, virtual stand set up, and my real life assistant, if you look on my Twitter, Rich Pitts, you'll see Betty for real. She's there to help on the stand. We're looking forward to some great posters, and very proud to be able to sponsor both the posters, and we've given you a bit of a hint on one of the coins in the conference center on the screen there. So do have a go at the treasure hunt. Our main talk, which will be later in the month, is from our Milan project at Politico University in Milan, taking the ninja out of GPUs, which is a really fascinating study of how to optimize with a new Python library around, well, a new library, it can use Python and other tools as well, taking the complexity out of GPUs. So we're really here to explore collaboration. If you have a project that you think might be interesting on Oracle Cloud, we'd love to hear about it. So do come and see us, or come and find me. Or if you just want to drop me an email, Betty will give you my email address. So see you later. Thanks very much.
Okay, so thank you for those lightning talks. Again, reminder to people, if you would like me to show your lightning talk as part of this session, then do please email it to me, like a YouTube link or a Google Drive link or something, and I'll play it as part of this session. So what's happening next week? Well, next week we have tons of events happening. I think it's one of the fullest weeks that we have of SeptembRSE. So we'll be going from Monday, where we have a workshop session, build and deploy an interactive Python data app with Streamlit. That workshop is going from 10 to 1 in the morning. Please do sign up for it. So the sign up link is on the workshop page, and I think it'll be a fantastic workshop. Then the afternoon, we have, I think, probably, well, again, one of our more contentious discussions is testing overkill for most research software. How can we make it easier to test scripts? I think that will be a fun discussion. So, please do tune into that and have a side discussion in the SeptembRSE channel. Okay, what do we have next? On Tuesday, we have our 5th presentation session, No Computing on a Dead Planet, and introducing the RSE Society Mentorship Scheme and the highs and lows of building a data share platform for funders. Again, I think these should be fantastic talk sessions. I am really looking forward to No Computing on a Dead Planet, just by Chris Edsel. And then we'll have another of the poster sessions next Tuesday in the afternoon. So give me your videos if you want those before Tuesday. Wednesday. So Wednesday is going to be a slightly different format. Wednesday is RSE Worldwide. So what we've done is we've invited RSE groups from around the world to basically join in what will be 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, because that way we match the time zones around the world, because, you know, people in Australia cannot attend the same session as people in the US. And so we have these 2 sessions. Everybody is welcome to join this. So please do join it as well. And there'll be lots of discussions, and there's a nice panel about that. And more information is available on the link here. On Thursday, we have our walkthrough session and a panel session. So the walkthrough is going to be the Taking the Ninja Out of Using GPUs talk, which Rich mentioned. And then the panel is going to be exploring the RSE role in HPC, AI, and ML, and emerging and unconventional fields. Again, I think it's going to be a very fascinating panel. The afternoon session, presentation session 6, this is where we've grouped together all of the COVID-related talks. So challenges of changing from in-person to online training, then a compartmental modeling for tracking spread of COVID-19 in Wales, or how I learned to stop worrying and tolerate R. I wonder if they mean the R number for COVID, because I would still worry about that, or R as the programming language. We will find out on Thursday afternoon. And then there's Project Odysseus, which is from air pollution forecast to helping local authorities navigate London's COVID-19 lockdowns. Again, that could be very interesting. I'm expecting an Internet of Things type of problems in this talk. Then on Friday, we're going to have a workshop, which is the launch event of the UK regional RSE groups. So please do go to the poster, which is in the conference centre. Tell us which regional group you think you belong to. So what would you call the region that you are in? And then those regions will be joined up. So I split into different breakout rooms, and we'll really try and sort of kickstart and catalyze some proper regional RSE groups around the UK. And then it'll be my normal summary as I would do, and then there'll be some networking. So now what we have is the networking and the poster session. I encourage you, please do go into the GatherTown now, have a look at the posters, network with other people, have a chat with them. This is how you get to feel like this is a conference and not just a series of videos. And enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon. And we look forward to seeing you on Monday. So, or see you in GatherTown if you're going to be staying there. But otherwise, thank you for coming and goodbye.